What up? What up? How y'all doing today? I wanted to take you through the pairs that we're watching this week. USD JPY looking pretty interesting right now. It's reacting right below the trend line that was drawn some time back. Going the 4 hour. That looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 upward facing bars in a row. We broke through, but we're crowding right here. There's no denying that. I just don't know where this daily bar is going to close. So that could be extremely interesting. Let me zoom out so you can see the whole thing. So this is a little downtrend line that connected and touched several points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A legit, downward sloping line here. And it got broke right around here. You see how it rode with it and then through it, but bounced upwards. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. This is really, really interesting, but worth watching and taking notes. Obviously, USD CHF is kind of poised in the same direction generally. What I don't know is if we're going to bounce up from here. I can't really tell. USDCAD looks like it's finally wanting to roll over. It came up on this key resistance area yesterday and the day prior. Now it's just kind of been floating there for a couple days here. I'm not sure if it's going to just roll over for us, but we do want to kind of watch that. We came off of a strong MACD, bullish MACD at least, in previous days, previous sessions. So last week, it looks like. Yeah, just want to kind of watch that one. No direction on that one either. NZDUSD. Let's see here. It looks like we hit that key level. Had a couple reversal bars, and then we actually had the move today. So that's always interesting to see. MACD kind of told that story, and we talked about this in previous sessions, so you can go back and check that out. Look for NZDUSD. NZDUSD definitely fell off. It definitely fell off from here, and we saw it from MACD's perspective. And this is almost textbook. Definitely could have traded this. Just being ready, being aware of the situation. You're going to bleed a little bit here, but look how much we have so far to go downwards, and opportunities to re-enter and all that good stuff. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. Let's see here. It's going to look something like this. Maybe up here, and then your target's going to be down here. So it's a healthy trade, 5% look. And if I was in this back here, or even today, getting into earlier today or today right now, we're probably going to be at break even right now. So we'd probably bulletproof this one at this point, because we've locked in about, I want to say 1%. Yeah. So that's what that is. Let's see here. NZDJPY. That one looks like, I don't know. We're kind of sideways. Kind of sideways coming off of that big play off of an extended level. I wonder what the daily chart looks like. Still, very, very beautiful reversal situation right here, man. And then we came up. I would look for a touching of this 618 fib somewhere. I don't know if I took this long or had a trade to take this shorter. I was saying that you could take this long, which is wishful thinking at best. That's, yeah, you're threading a needle and something like that. It is an entry, but there's better better plays you can take here that are less risky. So on this, I'm sitting tight and kind of watching NZDJPY, CAD. This one, man, ay. So I had mentioned getting in way back here, being like a smart play, pretty much. And then last week it was like there's a second trade here, obviously, combo trade, pyramid reversal strategy, yes. But it came and went against us pretty heavily, and you'll notice that right in here. So we would have almost experienced a full loss here, depending on, I don't know if the stop loss was originally that high, but if it was, we definitely have, let me see here. Yeah, I'm tripping. Okay, so this is the entry point, and based on this, these pivot averages, my stop loss should be way up here. So I'm actually shorter than I'm supposed to be, and we're still within there. And I had mentioned that it can go either way. You can kind of cut your loss on this one and look for a new entry at about half of the loss. So you would lose about 0.5%. Or you could just kind of hold it and say, all right, this is a good position. I do believe in this, and I will risk a full 1%. If that was the case, then you'd actually would have ridden out this storm and landed still in the green. But now we see it kind of reacting to this trend line. And the thing I like about this is this trend line is arbitrary, but still it looks like it's like playing right off of it for some reason. So you want to pay attention to stuff like that, how good your lines are drawn. This isn't even a very accurate line based on this section, but maybe I did a really good job on daily. I'm not 100% sure how I drew this or why it's sitting perfectly where it is, but it's interesting. It's interesting to dig into and kind of understand and see it. Maybe it was just luck. I think this one was just luck, but sometimes when you're drawing lines that are indeed touching right at the apex, I guess that's what you would call it, the apex of the move. So right where the candle's intersecting with it on several areas, that's usually a good sign. And maybe you have a line that several people saw and several people drew. And when that happens, people are playing off of those lines. When you have that where it's like popular consensus, it's one of those self-fulfilling prophecy type situations. So anyways, NZDCAD, I'm looking for more entries. We're holding this position. I still think it's slightly bearish. I don't really have any reason for it to turn around at this point. So we just want to watch it and see what the pullbacks look like. If they're violent again, this is a violent pullback. And I'm not 100% sure how or why that happened. Maybe there's a learning curve for me to go and check this out and really study it. So I like stuff like this because there's layers to it, and it makes me curious to kind of dig in and understand. Let's see. On the daily, we went up. We're sideways here, and now we're kind of rounding that corner. I might have mentioned that already. No entries though, no clean entries. There are entries here, but it's nothing that I actually trade. It's not clean enough. And one example is this little break of we're kind of sideways. What do you want to call this? Chop, a little choppy, and then we drop down, and then we bounce back up. Maybe could have kind of thread the needle here. Your entries here and your exits right below the main. SR line. Get in and out type of situation. Could happen. Not something that I trade confidently yet, so I'll leave that alone. This one is still running, and okay, I remember this from yesterday. GBP JPY is a quick trade, and it's because the daily is showing us, not the daily, where is it? There's something that's showing us kind of a rollover or if I'm paying attention, MACD's showing us that this isn't going to last. So That doesn't sound right. There's something up here. There's something up here that made me say, okay, I would have just took this short, and it wouldn't, or I would have took this as a 1.38 trade and not actually try to hit a home run on this one. But it's not MACD. I wonder what it is. Got to be accurate out here, man. It's so important to be accurate with what I actually would have done here. That's a tough one. I don't know. Excuse me. So the problem here is this precisely, is you see it come up. So we want to kind of take it like this. I think there's a feature where you can like reverse your bars or whatever. How do I do this? Okay. Okay. So if I jump to right around the entry point, oh, they won't let me do it unless I have a pro subscription, but that's a pretty cool feature. So basically it would have shown each bar, and then I could have like shown you in real time exactly how I would do this, right? Basically it's dropping down, you're entering here, and then there's a decision right here clearly to get rid of it because this is the first profit target. But just because the entry's there doesn't mean I necessarily would have taken it, or anybody would have taken it for that matter. And then you see it drop back down, and it reverses to go back higher. And then you have that same decision right around in here if you're going to get rid of this and let this trade be a good trade and be done with it. The very tricky part is this drop off, and then it dropped to the red line, so it dropped to 50 EMA. This is a buy signal, by the way. It's up and then pull back to take this long again, especially when I'm in the green here. I'm like, okay, I got 2 trades on now. Instead, it hung around this. It's supposed to bounce based on, the way that I trade it. I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's funny when you say it, right? Based on the way I like to trade, I would look for this to bounce and go higher even. Instead, it stuck and then dropped lower. And when it dropped lower like that, technically I would have been out my first position. I would have been out my second position. So I would have lost 2% off of this trade. This is the part of trading that makes it tricky, is being able to say, okay, I trade this setup day in, day out all the time, and sometimes it does not work. Sometimes it doesn't work, man. I can probably say the pyramid reversal strategy works. I'd have to get real technical with it, but probably like 80% of the time is what makes sense, because I don't often see stuff like this, and this is no good. This is a negative 2% loss is what that trade shapes up to be. You see that same move here. It's very interesting, and I'm wondering what might have caused this move, and it's like sticking out like a sore thumb too. Anyways, this original trade, we're still in it. This is why getting in early is so key, because even if on this trade I'm way down here with my stop loss, so this doesn't affect me. With this trade, I get my stop loss is a little bit higher. So let me draw this in. Oops, that. 125. So it looks something like that. So now, let's just pretend like we held this, like we're perfect traders or whatever. 4% on that trade, 2% on this one. So that's a 6% move. This is why, and this one's nowhere to get even touched, anywhere close to being touched. The dope thing about this is if I actually pull this up and I bulletproof this trade, I'm gonna draw this in so you can see where right around where the entry point is. I'll even give it a little bit of leeway. This orange line isn't being touched. I don't think it's going to be touched anytime soon until it's time for this run to stop. This trend, not trend, but this run. A run is the little brother of a trend. A trend is like the overall macro, the long-term look of it. But this run, once it starts to reverse, I can get out and still make a healthy profit. If I got out right now, we're talking for, it messed this part up, but it was 4% here and then 2% there. So, and this is only to the upside now, by the way, because you're tight there. Anyways, that's kind of how that looks, man, and that's super interesting. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love this trade, this GBP CHF. This is why you can't hold your bias too much, man. I hate the CHF pairs, but to be honest, man, this is a great opportunity right here. Even getting out at 200 EMA or maybe this key level. So these are my targets personally. I would say 200, 618, and then I don't really trade off of these. I don't know if I should or not, but right now I don't. And then I'd look at this for another key area. But anyways, that's what I got on that. That's the best trade I have right now, is a GBP CHF, so. Okay, so yesterday we had a strong reversal bar here. So getting into this should have been like a cinch. So it should have been real easy. There's no entry yet, but yeah, I'm super bullish there. Let's make sure that there's not any. I mean, we're in key levels. We're trading in the key levels, so kind of watch that. MACD looks fine. Yeah. Euro USD, just steadily kind of climbing down. You see, this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, coulda, woulda, shoulda got in right here, but the pullback wasn't strong enough. I need that pullback so that we can play in here, so we can actually get triggered with a pivot entry. That just did not happen here. It didn't. So Euro JPY, got our ass kicked in this one. I was looking for a big reversal here. It did not happen. And, that's how it goes sometimes. And I was also kind of tripping a little bit. Why? Because we're overextended to the downside. Look where we're at on the fib level. We're at 127 and 1441. This is not the place where you short. This is kind of, and that's sad that I really believe the hype and let myself do that. But it's time to wait and look for something to take long. So maybe I lose 1% here based on the trade that I kind of identified earlier today. We're not in this yet, but if we would have gotten into this, which there is an entry, we definitely would have made a bad decision based on the way that the long term is leaning. So just want to throw that out there. Euro AUD is fighting at that 50 EMA, and that's not even 50 EMA on a 1 hour chart usually doesn't get a whole bunch of consideration, but it looks like it's really holding there. CAD JPY, this is crazy. This one's just been booming. There's definitely an entry here. It would have been super tricky for someone to say, okay, I'm going to get into this. So this is last night or yesterday at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. You would have wanted to get into this at 6 o'clock yesterday evening, which is one of those things, man. That's why you set up alarms and your emails and all that good stuff. So your entry's like right here. That entry from earlier is like days ago back here. So you're still riding that wave up, but you're also riding this one now. So you got 2 trades going. Maybe you aim at here. Just because this has been such a slow back and forth trade, it really has been kind of bouncing in between these areas. It's really like a pinball type play. And you drop that down like this, and now you have a trade on to go to be bullish. So, yeah. CAD, CHF. Yeah, looks like we're going higher. MACD does not look good though. This is a short-term game. If you're in this, you should have been out whenever 618 got touched. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's the game though. If you are in this, where there's bullish signals in here, like this one, very interesting. I'm surprised I didn't already draw this in. That's a very interesting bullish signal. There's only 1 hour that you actually get to jump in though, which kind of sucks. And this is not a strong enough pullback. This could go either way. This one as well. Just draw these in. Some, not all entries are created equal, obviously, and it's super interesting to look at. But we got 3 entries to the bullish side. This is the best one, obviously, because it's the furthest back, and your stop loss is way down here, beyond 1272, which is ideal. You're way down here. The next stop is right in here, so we would have maybe got hit here, or well, barely not hit there, and then stop loss here. That could have been questionable, maybe not, depending on how tight my stop is here, and that sure would have been scary for the past couple days after initiating it, though. Would have been close. And now we're out at 618. So that's kind of how that game looks. Obviously, the best winner is here. So let me, instead of explaining it, I'd rather just show you. The visuals make it so much better. This is 618. It's a 3% trade. It's like this is a juicy trade for real. Wow, that's crazy. So 4%, 3%, which is odd because the stop loss is just a lot tighter on this second trade. But usually, obviously, since you're coming from a better entry, technically, your risk reward would be better on that first trade. Not the case this time. I rarely see that, but we'll go for it. This one was the scariest of all the trades because it got the closest to getting stopped out. And let's see if it was even somewhat worth it. We're not even at 2% on that last trade. It's crazy. So yeah, we're looking at like 8%, a little bit more than that, more like 10%. Let's see. Nah, 9%. So yeah. Plenty of food here. So from the 3rd of January till the 14th, and this includes the non-trading weekends, obviously, we're sitting at 9%, and that's off of 1 pair, and that's in 1 month. And what if you just hit that quota and then you quit every month? This is why I beat myself up about options. I really should have just jumped into this. Should have jumped into Forex immediately. But, if I knew then what I know now, one of those things. So. NZDCAD, not 100% sure Wow, this is trending pretty nicely. It's definitely on the upswing, and this entry is money. Would have bled right here, but other than that, you're doing very good, as Larry June would say. You're doing very good, 2%. One trade that you just watch, and probably bulletproofed at this point. So you're chilling like this, and we're at 2%. You're just chilling. Hands tied behind back. Nah, not necessarily. You do need to watch it. What does the price target look like on this one? Man, that's a good question that I just asked myself. Probably something like this. Let me go ahead and draw this in. There's a fib here, and I can play it like this. That's how I would do it. Yeah, something like that. So maybe we're right here at the 618. Reasonable. We're at baseline right now. It's just crazy to me how all this stuff just kind of coincides and plays naturally with each other. You see how baseline kind of price was in this general range, kind of playing around there for a while. So we broke above it at the end of yesterday. So right in here, beginning of today, and jumped up above it, dropped below it. Now we're kind of supported by this 50 EMA. I would look for it. If it broke the 50 EMA at this point, I'd get out. And I know that sounds like a rash decision, but it's not. It's based on the fact that we are at baseline on the fib level. So if we close one bar below 50 EMA, go ahead and get out. That's it. It's not hard. That's what I would look for. And I'm even second guessing myself while I'm telling you this, but because I'm looking at this and it's like, wow, that was just below fib or below 50, but then we jumped up. It's hard, man. Nobody knows what they're going to do till they're in that predicament, man. Until you're in that position, it's just one of those things, man. Do you know what you're going to do? We can plan for it, but until you've been battle tested a couple times, it's one of those things. So we're looking at, I don't know what kind of trade this is. It's a lot though. It's a strong trade. No, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. I should not have done this whole. Let's fuck that up. Let me draw this again. Okay, 3%, 374. Not bad at all for one trade. Again, one trade. NZDCAD. Yeah. Damn. Look at this MACD. This is crazy. Look at this MACD. And it's crazy. Yeah. It's definitely ready to fall the heck off. I can't say that I wouldn't have just tried to jump in this live and take it down because there's so much evidence that it's trying to go night-night. It definitely wants to drop lower. Yeah, it's super interesting. And I admit I actually have an issue drawing fib here. Bullish fib isn't. I'm not comfortable with it yet. But if we're saying that this is the downside and then it's like a V shape, right, coming back up. This is the beginning of that trend. Maybe this actually. This is more accurate probably. I got some stuff I need to work out. But yeah, so I'd look for something like this. It's baseline. It's reacting to baseline. Maybe we drop to 618 and chill right there. Maybe that's my target on this trade. And maybe that looks something like this. Kind of anticipating it. And then we're above key level here. We're dropping down here. We probably got a little too much on it. Drop right there, 1.5. See how it reacts. Not bad little trade. Okay, and that's it for today, man. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit me up with comments. Hit me up with, go to projectnewsense.org. Click any of the links in the description. Just let me know. Hit me up. Let me know something. I'll reply back 9 times out of 10.